Studio check.
Frequencies check.
We are live on air.
You are listening to the In Fact Blessing the Airwaves. Take the journey into the world of sports, news, entertainment, while embracing the hottest beats on the planet. Rocking the mind, body, and with energy, electricity, and a splash of controversy. Now, without further ado, it's our pleasure to bring to you
the biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world. The SBTV Nation.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Happy Saturday to you. I had to just wake your asses up this morning with an old school beat. Good morning to you. We are the SBTV Nation, and we are live on the air right now, ready to pick apart this college football card. And I think I've got both my guys on the phone. First off, Dream, what's up?
Yes, sir. That beat is in the background going crazy.
Oh, absolutely. And Dr. Dan, good morning to you.
Good morning. So, Cubs on the precipice of the World Series.
Cubs are ready to go ham. And you know what? Hey, they got to play and face Clayton Kershaw today, though, Dan.
I just, this is something that none of us today, and almost nobody alive has. Well, I mean, some people alive, have seen them go to the World Series. No one's seen them win. But the last time they went was
1945, and did not get it done.
And the Indians, I believe the last time the Indians won the World Series was 1947.
Oh, okay.
So either way, you're looking at the two oldest droughts in baseball history right now. And then the Dodgers, the Dodgers was I think the last time the Dodgers won it was 56. So, if the Dodgers manage to win tonight, which I don't think they're going to get it done, God, the pressure on the Cubs.
Well, the Dodgers right now are minus 130 to win the game at 8:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. And you got Clayton Kershaw on the bump versus Kyle Hendricks. So what's your thoughts on the game? I'm just going to dive right into it, Dan. Since we got a full slate of college football, let's just talk MLB playoffs real quick and get it out the way.
All right. So here's my thoughts. I think that the Cubs are going to keep this one close till they can basically get rid of Kershaw, right? He's thrown a lot of pitches.
Yep.
I don't know what his rope is going to be. Probably say he goes 120, 125 if he has to.
Okay.
But the Cubs have been taking good at bats. So the thing that they have to do really is just get his pitch count up, and they are on that bullpen. So I am taking the Cubs money line, but the play that I really, really like, and guys, I'm gambling here. Dodgers first five, Cubs money line, okay? The Cubs are on that bullpen. The bats have been alive against it. And when you get to see the same guys over and over again when you're a really good offense, which the Cubs are, spells trouble. So unless Kershaw goes another complete game shutout, which I just don't see it happening, I think the Cubs win this game and advance to the World Series.
And that probably pays somewhere along the lines of like 3-1.
Yeah, because I haven't seen it released just yet. The Cubs obviously plus 122. I kind of also lean this over 6.5.
Okay. Dream, you getting involved in Major League Baseball today?
Well, I'm not. I have the Cubs to go to the World Series. I also have them to win the World Series, so I have those two futures in play. So I don't have to. And I took the Cubs on the series, so I've got a best interest, obviously, in the Cubs. So I don't need to get involved with this particular game tonight.
All right.
Yeah, and if you have the Cubs in a series play and they lose tonight, you'll have a good hedge opportunity tomorrow because the Cubs, I think, will still be a favorite. So you'll be able to bet the dog and hedge it.
Absolutely, because if it goes to tomorrow, you got Rich Hill versus Jake Arrieta. Those are the pitchers named for Game 7 if it materializes.
It's terrifying. That actually is terrifying. I think if the Cubs actually lose this game today, they're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, because Rich Hill was dominant in the last outing.
Dominant, and not only that, Arrieta just meh. Like, you don't love him, you don't hate him right now. He hasn't been great. So I think the Cubs have to get it done tonight. I think they're still going to be loose. And again, we'll obviously have the conversation tomorrow if need be, but I think we're talking about the Cubs going to see the Indians in the World Series tomorrow.
And if those two teams play each other, Dan, where are you going?
It's so hard. It's so hard because you've seen the Royals, right, for years, like get to the World Series and then beat my Mets, obviously, with that crazy dominant bullpen.
Yes.
And I actually think all this time off really benefits the Indians because it's all about pitching, right? They have some timely hitting, but it's all about that bullpen, and the starters are still good. God, I guess I go Cubs in 7.
Cubs in 7. And you know what? Andrew Miller has been lights out.
Just, ridiculous. Ridiculous. You're talking, and I hate to throw the legend's name out like this. It's kind of like an MJ thing, but it reminds you of what Rivera did in postseasons.
Sure.
Where you just have guys that are just lost. They're baffled up there against him. And that's a huge thing because you're shortening the game to 6 innings, 7 innings. And that starting rotation has been good. It's performed better. And even when they faced adversity, when their pitcher gets his finger cut by a drone and he lasts a third of an inning, they shut out a team that's hitting crazy all year.
Unbelievable. And you know what? How did the New York Yankees feel with Andrew Miller being gone and Aroldis Chapman?
Well,
possibly facing each other in the World Series.
It depends on how those prospects turn out. It is kind of crazy, though. And you have to think that if the Yankees didn't make those bullpen trades, that they might have been where these teams are.
Sure. Definitely.
They had that big run, but, the bullpen blew a bunch of games for them. The kids got on a streak. So maybe, you never know. Baseball has always been a bunch of ifs.
Absolutely. Guys, we are live right now on Twitter, SBTV Nation. You can follow the Dream_SBTV and Dr. Dan Evil Genius as well. And you know what? We've had a lot of fun, guys. And Dan, it's the first time we had you on since last Sunday when we were absolutely heckling each other to death during the NFL slate. Dream, we had a great time at your expense.
That was a ball. We had a good time.
I know. Odell is still the number 25 receiver in the NFL. He's so bad. The only thing that made it perfect, Dream. The only thing that made it perfect is he goes out with an injury and they start passing the ball and Dream's well, it's because they're focusing too much on Odell. And then as soon as he does that, he catches a 70-yard touchdown pass. He lined it up. Odell was trolling you, Dream. Straight trolling.
Definitely. So, anyway, let's get right into it, guys, because we got a massive slate of college football, and there's some pretty difficult games to pick a side on, to be honest with you. I've been looking at this card and kind of trying to figure it out. So that's why we do the show, and I'm very blessed to have both you guys on so we can talk out these plays and try to figure out what the hell we're going to get involved in here. So I'm going to kick it right off with you, Dan, because I usually kick it off with the Dream, so I'm going to give you the nod on leading it off. Where are you going today?
All right, so I'm going to follow your lead from last week when you went all Lovie Smith on us, and we were I don't know, and it worked out.
Yeah.
It worked out real well. And now I have what I think is, in my opinion, this is going to be the beatdown of the day.
Okay.
And that's this Minnesota team, -18 at home against Rutgers.
I could see it.
Look, Minnesota has lost 2 games all year. And, they haven't been bad losses. I think, what was it, Iowa by a touchdown, and then at Penn State by 3 points. This is a team that plays very well. I think Indiana State might be better than Rutgers right now, and they beat them by 30. I just see this getting out of hand, out of control in front of a wild Minnesota home team. Rutgers is no good at all. So right. Give me Minnesota, give me the 18 points, and let's get it.
So Rutgers' last 3 games, they lost 58-0, 78-0, and 24-7 versus the Fighting Illini. Now, I'm looking at it, and I know where you're going, and I love picking on a team that's absolutely decimated psychologically. I love it, Dan. I absolutely love it. The only challenge I have is that Minnesota doesn't dazzle you offensively at all. They don't even have 400 yards per game offensively, and they're only averaging 30 points. So I feel that the best play here would be to possibly get them in a teaser and get them maybe under the 10 points, like the 8 or 9 points or something like that. I think they'll win by 10 or more. I just don't think I'm going to get involved with the 18, but I do like where you're going. Dream, any thoughts on this game?
Well, I don't really like this particular matchup. I don't have any thoughts on it.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So we'll keep it moving and go from there. To you, Dream, where you at?
All right, I'm going 3:30. I'm going West Virginia TCU. West Virginia this season, we haven't done a lot of discussion about them, but quietly, West Virginia has been getting it done. I mean, we put all our attention on the Louisvilles, the Clemsons, Alabamas, which, I mean, rightly so is what we should do.
Right.
But West Virginia's been, quietly handling their business. They are matched up against TCU today. It's got a 3:30 Eastern Standard Time start. West Virginia I have them at -7.
Yeah, I got 6.5 here.
All right, I got 6.5, 7. It's almost same kind of difference. The only thing that slightly worries me about West Virginia, the defense does give up 410 yards on offense. So we just have to keep an eye on that as far as that's concerned, especially against a TCU team that is probably going to want to try to rush the ball a little bit. 168 yards they average rushing, and West Virginia gives up just a little bit over 150 as far as on the ground is concerned. I think West Virginia is going to have some success though in every other aspect of this game, especially on the offensive end. I see West Virginia being able to pass the ball against TCU's defense. TCU just doesn't do it for me on the road this season. Lost to Oklahoma, come back, beat a bad Kansas team barely. I like West Virginia to beat TCU today
And stay undefeated and be 6-0 at the end of the day. Wow. Dan, where you at with that?
I got to stay away. Look, West Virginia at home, it's got all the makings that West Virginia should win this game. But, TCU, I think, is also a little underrated. Again, 2 losses, Arkansas and Oklahoma. Both games they were in, they were very close. Those are 2 very good teams. I wish you the best of luck. I got to stay away from this. I think it's going to be a nail-biter.
All right. Sounds good. So we're going to move over to me, and I am looking at the Nebraska Cornhuskers today, who are 6-0. They're facing the Purdue Boilermakers, and you know what? They're giving a lot of points. They're giving 24 points, but as part of my 3-team 10-point teaser, I'm going to get Nebraska down to 14 points. I'm going to take number 8 Nebraska to get it done over Purdue. I think they are a team that's dream, just like you said. A lot of these teams are quietly making their headway up the rankings, and I think Nebraska needs to keep this foot on the gas. I like Nebraska to get it done by 2 touchdowns or better, so that's where I'm going with that. Number 8, Nebraska, who is putting up about 35 points a game, but defensively, they're very damn sound. They're only giving up 18 points a game. That's pretty impressive.
And
It's a good play.
Yeah.
What you gotta love about Nebraska, they're averaging 220 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
And Purdue is allowing 264 yards.
That's another thing, and that's a great thing that you just pointed out. And I'm looking at Purdue's road record as well. 1-9 in the last 10 games on the road.
Purdue is a bad football team, guys. They might be 3-3, but their 3 wins are Eastern Kentucky, Nevada, and the Illini, who just got their 2nd win over Rutgers.
Exactly.
Okay? And they barely beat them by 3.
Yeah.
The more I look at this, I think they cover that number too.
You really
I
think so,
get where you're going with taking the points, but I think they cover it.
All right. So that's what we're looking at today, guys. And Dan, I'm going to kick it back to you because I know you got a hell of a lot of plays.
I do. Let's bring it back to noontime.
All right.
And go to our favorite. I think we talk about this conference, so often. I got to go with this Wisconsin team today.
All right.
-4 points.
Yep.
I'm a little confused here. I know that these teams play close, and this is on the road at Iowa. But I'm all over Wisconsin. I understand 2 losses in a row, but I mean, those might be the 2 best teams in the country.
Right.
And you know they're fired up. You know that. I mean, they walked into Michigan and almost beat them, so I don't think they're scared of being on the road. They blew out Michigan State on the road. This is still a very good, very live Wisconsin team, and I think they get it done and get it done by a touchdown or better today.
All right, Fast Eddie, thank you very much for sending me those beautiful photos of those women. I appreciate it big time. And Terrence Mack, what's up? Good morning to you. Dream,
Yes.
what's your thoughts on that game?
That's a tough game. Absolutely tough game there. The question you have to ask yourself, obviously, Wisconsin's played two of the better teams in college football and won. And so you wonder the psyche, lost, I'm sorry, but you wonder the psyche of them bouncing back. And that's just, I don't know. I don't know that their focus, when you say that, that they're dying to get at Iowa, they are, because they could be part of them saying, you know what, we already got our 2 losses. We're looking at making a bowl game. They're a little bit on the disappointed side, especially from a coaching staff aspect as Wisconsin is concerned. But ranked at number 10, though, I think is a bright spot for them.
Yeah.
I actually think that Wisconsin should have fell lower than that. So hopefully
They're the only team, I think, in the last 100 years, Dream, that has lost back-to-back games and still been in the top 10.
Wow.
Right.
Interesting. Right. Well, they were tight in both of those games.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely see what you're saying. Maybe you do worry a little bit about the psyche, but the thing is, what you just said, their coach is still going to them saying, hey, guys, we're a top 10 team, okay? 2 losses in this conference. It's possible for another team to have 2 losses. I mean, anything's possible. I don't know. I just don't like this Iowa team. I think they're overrated.
Well, you got to look at Iowa and what they've done and how they've performed at home. 1-7 against the spread in the last 8 games at home.
And that's against North Dakota State and Northwestern were their last 2 home games.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And North Dakota State won the game on the field.
Yep.
And Wisconsin is 4-1 in the last 5 games when playing in Iowa. So
they gave up 38 points to Northwestern at home.
There you go. All right. But you know what, Dan? I say not so fast because you know what? Wisconsin doesn't dazzle me offensively at all.
Right.
This could be a knockdown, drag-out kind of low-scoring affair.
See, I actually see it the other way. I think Wisconsin's defense is great. I think they're going to suffocate them. I'm not saying that Wisconsin's going to go out and put up a 40 spot, but I mean, I could see something where it's like 28-10.
Got it.
I could see it being kind of a grudge match for 3 quarters and Wisconsin just kind of pulling away at the end.
All right. Dream, I'm kicking it over to you. Where are you at?
Well, as far as gambling is concerned, I'm pretty much a wrap. But there's a couple other games that I'm interested that are on the slate that we can go over. As far as that is concerned, we're going to go look to North Carolina, Virginia. Terrence Mack should be very interested in this particular matchup today as we can't figure out who this North Carolina team is.
But one of the most inconsistent teams in football.
One of the most inconsistent teams in football. However, Virginia, not so fast.
Right.
All right, I don't really like what Virginia does. Don't really like what they've been able to do this season. Coming in 2-4, it's an ACC matchup. I know these teams know each other, but I think North Carolina should be up and ready for this game and be able to have some success, especially against what the Cavaliers want to try to do. I don't think Virginia is that good of a team this season. They are allowing 280 yards through the air and 169 on the ground. That being said, we're expecting the Tar Heel, we're expecting Logan to get it going as far as the ground game is concerned. 409 yards on the ground and 5 touchdowns. I like North Carolina to beat Virginia today.
You had to give it 11 points.
I don't like 11 points.
North Carolina, believe it or not, does pretty damn well on the road. 7-1 in the last 8 games on the road. Very interesting.
Exactly. You're talking about West Virginia. You're talking about a Virginia team that lost to Duke. Okay. Yep. And Central Michigan. Lost to Pitt. Lost to Connecticut.
Yep. Yo. Dream, you there?
I am.
All right. I don't know what happened to Dan there, but
I hear you guys fine.
All right, fantastic. So we're gonna kick it over to me, and I'm picking on a bunch of teams, and I'm taking these spreads and I'm knocking them down 10 points. And my third part of my 10-point teaser, you already know. I'm sure it's no surprise that I've got my team, the surprise team of the year, being Western Michigan. And I'm taking them today, and they're at a 22.5-point spread. They're facing a pretty good team at Eastern Michigan, but I'm getting that down to 12.5, and I am riding my boys, the Broncos, who are 7-0 all together, number 20 in the land, 3-0 in the MAC, playing a pretty good Eastern Mich team. But I'm getting that down to 12.5, and I like Western Michigan to complete my 3-team 10-point teaser. Dan, have you gotten a chance to look at Western Mich yet?
I have, and I'm obviously impressed with what they bring to the table. I hate this game.
Okay.
I just, this Reed's stomach ache to me. It's like classic grudge match.
Of course.
Eastern Michigan versus Western Michigan. I wish you the best of luck. I think Western Michigan, and everything says that they should bludgeon them.
Yes.
But that being said, we've seen weirder things, so I'm just going to stay far away from it.
Right on. And Eastern Michigan is not half bad at all. So that's why I'm getting that line down. I don't like the 22.5 points. They do put up 31, almost 32 points a game, this Eastern Michigan team. And, the last time they've played each other, Western Michigan last year dominated them. They won by 30 points. So, you know what? I think it's a good spot.
I wish you the best of luck.
All right, sounds good.
It's like it's going to be a pretty tough matchup, but I think in the teaser situation that you got going on, I think you're going to be okay.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm picking on Rutgers, I'm taking Western Michigan, and I have Nebraska as well. So those are going to be my 3 teams that I'm putting together in that 10-pointer. I like that. I like it a lot. So you know what? See, this is what I love about the show, guys. And this is kind of, we basically have created a community of people that all have similar interest in gambling on sports. And what we're doing is basically bringing the phone calls that you have with your boys to life. And that's what this show is all about. So I'm going to kick it over to Dan and see what you got next.
All right. I got a nooner here.
A nooner.
And a big spread at that one.
What do you got?
We got Louisville
facing NC State, who almost knocked off the number 4 team in the land, being Clemson last weekend. Should have. And you know what? My kid's high school football kicker is better than most college football kickers. Dude, I swear to God, man, I just had a feeling that he was going to miss the kick. I just did. It's just the way this thing has been going. But
it happens way too often. It's funny. Even the guy from Cal last night, everybody's hyping him up the whole game. He's only missed 2 kicks all year, but when it matters, he shanks the ball 30 yards left. Right. It's like you're right. There are no good kickers in this sport right now. But here's the thing: Louisville had their hangover game at home against Duke.
Yep.
That was kind of a ugly, they were kind of lucky to get out of there when they did. That was close the whole game.
Sure was.
I think that North Carolina State gets killed today. I think that, look, if anything, Louisville's coach is saying, hey, Clemson is so vulnerable. Come on, guys. Let's just win out. Let's just win out. We got this game at home. Let's show the competition committee, show everybody that we're that team. They have the best player in the country. People forget about that. One game doesn't make a difference. And look, the Duke game is forgivable. I just think that North Carolina State gets shellacked.
All right, Dream, what's your thoughts there? ACC matchup.
I think Louisville wins the game. I don't know about the shellac part. I just think that Louisville will win the game. I think if you get this in a tease situation and move some of the points around, you're going to be good. I just don't know. Listen, North Carolina State showed a lot of moxie against Clemson, and I believe that they're going to show a little bit of that against Louisville. We've seen Louisville come out and look absolutely incredible, against bad teams, but against this team is a little bit better than what we've seen them against. It might be a tad bit, I don't know, just a tad bit of not necessarily dominating or a dominating performance that we're used to seeing out of them. I do like Louisville to win the game. I don't think they lose this game by any stretch of the imagination. I just think it might be a little bit closer than we think it might be.
So Louisville was so dominant before that loss to Clemson. And you know what? It seems like everybody's kind of switching gears a little bit, almost jumping off the bandwagon. seeing teams like the Ohio State University and Alabama and stuff like that, that Duke game is troublesome. It really is.
It's a hangover game. It's not really. They won the game. It's not acceptable.
Yep.
It's not really acceptable, but their best players still played incredibly well.
Yeah.
The rest of the team did kind of take the game off, but it just shows what they can do. And yeah, I mean, it's not great, but that happens. I mean, it's still a conference game, and you just came off, a heartbreaking loss, really.
Yep.
You got to think that they come out and they're refreshed and energized to. Look, if this game was at North Carolina State, maybe I'm a little concerned. I see what you're saying, Dream. I definitely do, but I think Louisville comes out to that hot start and keeps it up. So
the other thing you got to worry about with NC State is a good rush defense.
They do 5 in the country.
Yeah, so you watch that because Louisville's going to want to try to get their run game going. I know that they can get Jackson going in that run game, so that's the X factor probably for work in their favor. But
what this reminds me of, though, and it's to a little different level, is that Navy-Houston game. It's like you had a very good rush defense, but then you have a very non-traditional run. And the thing is, when you have the quarterback rolling out into run-pass formations and things like that, remember, it's the number 3 rushing offense against the number 5 rushing defense. They're rushing 306 yards a game as well. And I just think that they're a better class. They're just a better class on that team. I see what you're saying. It's going to be a fun game. But I think Louisville pulls away. We'll see what happens. But I got a minus 19.5.
There you go.
I feel good about it.
Yeah, you know what? They might come to play today, and they may shine. And you might be onto something too, Tim. Dream, what do you got?
All right, let's take a look. I mean, I don't have a lot, guys, and I'm obviously some of this stuff I know some of you guys are getting down with, and I mean we're going to go no farther to the marquee matchup of the day, and I don't know if you guys want to save it till last, but I'm ready to go there right now. Are you guys cool with it or no?
SEC matchup 3:30.
Yes, sir. Little SEC matchup at 3:30 with a couple little teams playing, and one being the Alabama Crimson Tide, and the other one being the Texas A&M.
All right, go for it. What do you got? 18 points with an under-over of 60.5.
And that's why the beauty of the program is we have all these tools available to us that we can manipulate these lines. And I know I'm feeling like Dan's going to go bludgeoning, blowout, annihilation.
Yep.
And he's going to go Bama. And I happen to agree with him, but just in case the bludgeoning, blowout, annihilation does not go down, I am going to tease this with my other particular games that I'm interested in and get this spread down a little bit. I like Bama to win. Bama does show up in these big games. I think Bama's going to have a lot of success against this Texas A&M team. This game's not going to be no cakewalk for Bama, but Texas A&M's defense allows 437 yards.
Crazy.
Dude. You want to allow 437 yards? You want to allow 159 on the ground against Bama? It is going to be a long day. And I know there's a bunch of dogs out there, dog lovers out there, looking at that Texas A&M, taking the 18 points, and, I'm going to get this dog to work today. Good luck.
Money line, Dream.
Good luck.
Texas A&M money line. Dan, what's your thoughts?
Look, this Texas A&M team, I like them. I've rode them pretty much all year to great success. And if you look at the games they've played, there's nothing out there, and I don't know what would prepare you for Alabama. But man, you're right, Dream. I mean, I'm with this spread. I got it 17.5 by the hook down to 17, right? But I think that this is one of those games that like 21-7, maybe 21-10 at the half. And then Alabama does what they do, and they just roll away at the end. Because I just don't see – I can't see Texas A&M stopping this offensive line in this run game. And when you get knocked down play after play, especially on the ground, and then you have a quarterback that I think will still be able to pick up the big chunk yardage, I think Texas A&M does get beat down today.
All right. Sounds good. I mean,
3 touchdowns.
Yeah, Alabama's just playing at such a high level right now.
Such a high level, dude. I mean, you can't get around that right now.
You can't. You really can't. And you know what? It just seems like they're getting better and better every week. And Dream, I told you, Jalen Hurts at that offense, they're good. You know, and they're scoring, and the defense is giving you short fields. They're scoring defensively, and they're scoring with special teams. I know it pains everybody to say it, but Alabama is definitely the class of college football right now. At least
they're the New England Patriots of college
they
football.
are. They are.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. The only thing, though, I just still feel that there may be 2 other teams that are as good or if not slightly better than Alabama. That's just my feeling.
I want to see them play Washington.
Yeah, that's a really, really good matchup right there, I believe. Exactly.
But I still think Alabama would kill them.
You really think so, huh?
Dude, I
do too.
Alabama, it's like watching the Fourth Dimension, you know? It's like if there was a minor league NFL, like Alabama would beat the hell out of all those teams, and they might beat the Cleveland Browns right now. I mean, because the thing is, schematically, right? They have a coach that literally, why I call them like the New England Patriots of college football is like their coach is unbelievable. Not just at recruiting, but obviously scheme as well. You know, because you see a lot of these guys go to the NFL, like especially running backs and stuff, and they're like nothing. And you're like, wow, how do you get so much out of these guys? He gets everything out of his players.
Yeah.
They leave every single ounce on the field. And I just think that they're always a step ahead of the competition.
All right.
You know, the thing with Alabama, too, I agree with most of that. I agree with all of that. I shouldn't say I agree with most of it. I agree with all of that. It's just, I want to see Alabama in that situation with a team as good as them down. The other issue is when I put Washington in that same sentence with them, I just don't feel Washington has played or even going to play the type level team that Alabama sees throughout their season. They just don't play that competition in Washington. And I think they're going to get really surprised if they make this playoff situation, have to go up against the likes of, a Alabama, a Ohio State, or, a Clemson. I think they're just going to be shocked to see how much better these teams are compared to what the competition level is of what they've been playing.
No, I'm with you. I mean, and hey, I'm still curious in a couple weeks when Washington has to go to Utah.
Yeah, that'll be a good matchup.
It should be pretty good.
For sure. Definitely. So let's talk about another one. And this Penn State team does nothing for me whatsoever, but they are 4-2. And this matchup is in the Big Ten, and you've got number 2, The Ohio State University, going into Penn State, and they're given 19.5 points. Complete dominance. You up until last week, where the Ohio State Buckeyes have definitely dominated their competition. Up until last week, where they had a tough game in Wisconsin and got the job done. They have beaten down this Penn State team time and time again. They're given 19.5 points on the road. Dream, I'd like to know your thoughts on this because I don't really have a side because you know how I feel against home team underdogs on prime time. But there's no way in hell you could ever get me to bet Penn State.
Well, there's no way in hell you should ever bet Penn State. And you don't. If you were going to bet them, don't try to bet them against Ohio State.
Yes.
I expect Ohio State to come in and tear this game apart. Obviously, we talked about JT Barrett and the Ohio State offense, dominant, defense looking really good. Defensively, they allow 128 yards on the ground. Penn State right now is allowing 208 yards on the ground. Oh. So Barrett, Weber, got to be kind of foaming at the mouth. Urban Meyer, if anybody's going to pick out something in some aspect to try to pick out in this game, probably going to pick out the running game and try to run all over Penn State as they're allowing that much yardage on the ground. I just, Ohio State dominates everything in this game. So I like Ohio State to win this game.
All right. Dan, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, to win, I think that they cover the spread. I'm just not going to take another giant spread today, but no, I'm with you there.
All right, sounds good. So You know what? If you guys, I don't know if you have any more that you're feeling. I'm going to start with you, Dan. And if not, we'll just talk about the key matchups that are going on today. What do you got?
Yeah, so I actually have, what do I have? 2 more that we haven't spoke about.
What do you got?
And the first one, let's just go. This is a 4 p.m., and I don't get this line at all.
Here, I'm with you on
The
this.
Utah Utes plus 6.5.
Yeah, that's a weird line. With Utah being 6-1 and 3-1 in the pack, where UCLA is 3-4.
I've been checking injury reports. I don't see anything that to concern me. I understand they lost the game at Cal, right? I get that, but UCLA has not been playing good football at all. At all. I mean, when they score, they get blown out. They've lost to a mediocre Washington State team on the road. I just don't get it.
Well, maybe UCLA, the fact that they went into Utah last year and won the game in Utah, that might have a little bit to do with it.
Different year to year, though. I mean, I guess so. But doesn't that mean that Utah has like way more reason to come out
the
and play hard?
revenge factor?
Yeah, a little bit. I understand. I mean, they're on the road. I get it. But plus 6.5? I mean, if they lose this game, it's going to be by a late field goal. Or, the kicker will miss it and they'll lose that way.
All right. So you're feeling the Utah Utes plus the points.
Oh, I really like the Utah Utes plus the points.
Dream.
I'm feeling the Utah Utes too, Dan. I'm with you. And when you look at the injury report, if there's anywhere you want to look at, you might question where Josh Rosen's status is, if anything, because he's a little bit banged up himself,
Right. So
Listen, I don't know why this spread is what it is. I've been looking at this game too. It's one of the ones on mine. It's funny you brought it up. As soon as I got on this morning with you guys, that was like the first thing out of your mouth, which I had already been saying. I don't know. Everybody's gonna do. It's a trap. I guess I got to get stuck in it.
Yeah. Yep.
Now I'm gonna I have this in a teaser situation with my other game, but I'm all over. I don't get it. I'm just like you. I've been looking at it, trying to figure out, crunching the numbers. I don't like this UCLA team. UCLA to me looked absolutely dusty as hell.
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's Washington State. I mean, they came back in the second half and looked a little bit formidable. I think that was some of Washington State over-celebrating as well at the towards the end of that game. But I just did not like what I saw out of Rosen in that particular matchup. I don't think he's going to have a lot of success against this Utah team. I think Utah's going to be really up for this game, even though it's not necessarily that prime time game. But I think this is a game that Utah can kind of get their season back on track and keep it going. Coming off that loss to Cal, probably emotionally had a little bit of effect on them, but I think that they were able to rebound from that. I expect them to move forward. This is a great win for them to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, I honestly think they win this game on the field.
Okay.
I know that there's the question mark about Rosen, and I guess the books are thinking that he's going to play, but look, he didn't practice all week. Morris said that they don't even know if he's going to play till Saturday, and the backup, look, you prepare for Rosen, and then if the backup plays, great, because the guy made 2 costly interceptions last week anyway. So, yeah, even if Rosen plays, I just don't see Utah dropping this game. So I might even moneyline this.
Well, you know what? I just got to say, there's a reason why a certain team is favored in college football. So, guys, be careful with that game. Just going to leave it at that.
Maybe the book was drinking last night. They were like, hey, man, what do you think this line should be?
Maybe they're trying to figure out the Kershaw line today. But anyway, let's go over to the SEC, guys, as we have number 17, Arkansas, going into number 21, Auburn. How is Arkansas ranked after that bludgeoning by Alabama?
Because Alabama, they're an NFL team.
I know, but still, I mean, they were on their home, on their home grass and got murdered. But Auburn,
beating or losing to Alabama is like the biggest swing that you could have in the rankings. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Auburn is number 21, and I don't know if Auburn is all that good to be favored by 10.5 points. I could be wrong here, but Dream, what's your thoughts? SEC.
Absolutely agree with you. I think Auburn given. I'm looking at, and I think that's ridiculous as well. Auburn may win this game at home because they're home. I don't really know how or why, But to be giving those kind of points to me is ridiculous. I think if you take Arkansas and you can add a touchdown to the number, you're going to be in really good shape, and you got to like that shape you're in.
Yeah.
I hate the matchup. It's an ugly game for me. I'm not going nowhere near it. It's very ugly. I don't even understand it. But I'm with you. I think Auburn's giving way too much.
Dan?
The more I look at this game, I'm like, Arkansas is going to win this game on the field.
Win on the field. Wow.
I mean, this Auburn team is, and I'm not saying the Arkansas, I know where you're going, Hatter, but their 2 losses were at A&M. And I mean, the Alabama game, you want to call it a bludgeoning, they lost by 19. They would cover the spread that's against, today, or at least the starting spread. So I actually am pretty high on this Alabama team. They took care of business against Ole Miss. Sure. If this team can, I really actually think they win this game. I think they beat Auburn today. Upset special.
All right. Sounds good. So let's keep it moving and keep the ranked teams that are playing each other as part of this subject here. And
I got one more really dirty one if you want to get rid of it quick.
Go get rid of the dirty laundry first. What do you got?
I mean, it is against a ranked team, but I know people are going to blast me for this. I like Texas Tech today.
You like Texas Tech
plus
the 14
and a half.
At home.
Home team primetime game, baby.
There it is.
8 p.m. on Fox.
Dude, I gotta talk to Sugar Shane Dream. I gotta find out what the numbers are, because every single home team underdog, they're like plus 200s, 300s, 400s. And a lot of them have been winning on the field.
Okay.
So your year to date, I'd like to know home team underdogs on primetime, if you bet every single one on a money line, how you did, and then how you did on the spread as well. I'd like to know that.
What qualifies? I think the first thing you got to start off is, especially with college, what qualifies the prime time?
8 p.m.
Okay.
The 8 p.m. time slot on either Fox, NBC,
right? A marquee game.
Okay.
It's got to be
nationally televised marquee game. Right, I think you count ESPN too.
Yeah. Go for it. And you know what? Temple was not ranked, but that was supposed to be a beatdown from South Florida, and obviously South Florida choked.
That great South Florida team.
Yes. So Dan, what's your thoughts here? You taking Texas Tech plus the 14 points?
Yeah, I got to do it again. I don't think this Oklahoma team, and their defense is very suspect.
It is.
Very suspect. And when I watched Texas Tech last week, and I understand that was kind of a heinous loss, and West Virginia, I think people are overrated. Their quarterback was hurt. I think he's a little better now. You saw him airmailing passes that he never misses. I don't want to make excuses. I just think that he's a lot better than what he showed last week. I think this Texas Tech offense is legit, and they keep it pretty close all game. I think they're going to have a shot to win. I mean, at plus 450, I think, why not put a little money line on it?
Well, considering the fact that the under-over is 86, this should be the most entertaining game of the day.
It'll be fun.
Dream, where you at?
I am at. This is a huge rivalry game.
Yes.
Okay? Keep that in mind. This game's been a rivalry for a minute. The other thing here, I don't know if you guys have been watching, and I'm not going crazy. I hate Bob Stoops. Oklahoma opened this season up. They were ranked like number 3 in the country, okay? And they were ranked that for a reason. And then we saw a bunch of awful gameplay, losses, the whole 9. Quietly, very quietly.
Yeah.
Oklahoma has started to pick their season back up and get back running again. We saw them beat TCU, which is another reason why I like West Virginia to beat TCU today. We saw them beat TCU. Then we saw them beat Texas, catch their breath against a terrible, Kansas State team. I think that Oklahoma now is starting to believe in what they were supposed to be touted at the beginning of the season. Baker Mayfield looks like he's a little bit more comfortable. The play calling looks a little bit different. They're getting some things done on the ground that they haven't been getting. I like the turnaround that I've seen out of this Oklahoma team. Gotta tell you, I don't like Texas today. I mean, Texas Tech may cover that spread because this is a rivalry game. I think you're going to be clinging to that point, maybe looking for that backdoor cover, because I think Oklahoma is playing at a better level right now than they were playing months ago.
Fair enough. I mean, I think plus 15, though, like you said, rivalry game. Still a very good offense against a very porous defense. Like you said, I mean, 89. Both of these defenses stink.
Yeah.
I think, if Oklahoma gets out to a fast start and goes up like 3 touchdowns early, then it's going to be an absolute bloodbath that way. But I think that Texas can come out fast. And look, I think at plus, 15, you play it normal. It's now up to plus 525 on the money line. It's like, I'll put 95 down to win 500. Like, why not?
There you go.
Why not?
All right. So, final game we're going to talk about here is the SEC. We have number 23 Ole Miss, who has 3 losses, mind you. They're a 500 team, yet they have cracked the top 25 still. Versus number 25 LSU, and LSU is minus 7.5. Dan, SEC, what do you got?
Is Fournette playing this game?
I have no idea.
Yes. He's not, right?
I don't think so.
Like I said, what I say after week 2, when they lost that game, I was like, you're never going to see him again in college.
Yeah, right. Good point.
Why? Why bother? I don't like this game. I just don't. I mean, I don't like LSU. I'm leaning that Ole Miss might actually get it done against. I don't know, man. These teams are both pretty bad. And LSU, I don't think even deserves the 25 ranking that it has. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this. I don't like this game.
I can tell you this much, that LSU has impressed me defensively. They've been pretty damn good, and they're only giving up 14 points a game. And Dream, just over 300 yards defensively they're allowing. So, if you've got a pretty decent offense versus a halfway decent defense, this should be a pretty interesting and, good chess match, honestly. What's your thoughts, Dream?
Well, here's the deal. Ole Miss, the thing about Ole Miss that drives you insane, their defense.
Yeah.
Their defense just, I don't know. I don't like their secondary. And it's something like their defense just, especially as the game wears on, they just really seem to wear down. But LSU, to me, I don't love their offense. So you're talking about a game that's going to be, I think, somewhat competitive.
Sure.
And you guys know, I'm not really a dog guy, but I got to lean towards Chad Kelly, man. I think that the Ole Miss offense is going to be able to have success against this LSU defense. And I just don't like LSU's offense. And I know it's a tough place to play in LSU. I think Ole Miss, one of the toughest schedules in college football. And I know they've lost games. I get it. And the Arkansas loss to me is the most telling. That's a bad loss as far as I'm concerned. I think they needed that loss really, relative in their conference and even in college football. But I think that a win here against LSU on the road in LSU could be big for them. And I think that they can figure out a way to win this game.
All right. And I'm looking at Joe Efforts telling me that Fournette is expected to play today.
Wow.
All right. So that's pretty much going to do it for the card, guys. I mean, listen, you know what?
Real quick,
Yes.
Hatter. We have an NFL game that kicks off before we get on the air tomorrow.
We do. At
wanna go over it real
9:30
quick?
at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Why not? Let's talk about the New York Giants versus the LA Rams, which will be going on while we're live on the air at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
So I apologize. I'm get the dump button ready. I will try not to curse because if it starts going bad against the Rams, I don't even know what my mental state will be like.
That's tough. I mean, the Rams showed, they did showcase some offensive abilities that I did not see it coming last week, and they did score. They did score 28 points last week. But Dan, what's your thoughts here on the New York Football Giants?
Yeah, I mean, the LA Rams have to fly all the way from Los Angeles to to England, which I mean, it's much easier to go from New York, obviously. That being said, I know the Giants are dealing with controversy and the kicker's not traveling with them. It's a kicker, people.
Yes.
Okay, he's off, while the commissioner, does his thing. And I mean, look, Robbie Gould is taking his place. I don't really mind that. He was a good kicker for a long time in the league. That being said, I added the Giants defense in my fantasy league for a reason. I just think that the Rams are not really going to be able to do much. Case Keenum, I think, has been kind of an aberration. I just don't see it, and they still aren't running the ball very well. I think the Giants win and probably cover this game.
All right, and they're given 3 points. Dream, what's your thoughts on a London game? I have not bet any London games, and I won't. There's just too many intangibles for me.
And what are the intangibles?
Travel, time change.
Full man, you guys.
I'm telling you, I just don't like it. You know what? There's teams that we see it when West Coast teams come east. This is a whole different country. I just don't like it. I can never take a side, and you know what? Anything that I've put in my brain hypothetically has gone the other way. So it just doesn't do it for me.
For the most part, I haven't gotten involved in any of those England games either, only because the matchups have always been terrible. It hasn't really been. They've never seemed to have a really good game there. It's always a bad matchup. This is probably, out of all the games that they've had there, I would say this is one of the better matchups that I've seen ever for the England game.
Yeah, and really, if you think about it, it still is LA versus New York, right?
Yeah, because generally it's like it was last time, Colts Jacksonville. That's what,
right.
That's what the matchup is.
The other thing too is, guys, remember, this game. I'm not saying it doesn't mean more for the Rams, but the Giants are at 500. If they win this game, go to 4-3. The Eagles have a tough game. We'll see what happens with the Cowboys if they can sustain their blistering pace. But if the Giants can get above 500, I just don't think this LA Rams offense is good at all. I think like I said, I think it's been kind of an aberration. I think the Giants secondary is healthier than it has been, and I think they shut it down pretty easily.
All right. Well,
first of all, when we talk about this game, first thing is obviously there are distractions with the Giants. You have the distraction of Odell Beckham Jr. and what's been going on with that circus environment.
Oh, come on. Yeah, the distraction of 220 yards and multiple touchdowns and basically taking the team on his back and winning. You know what? Dude can do whatever he wants with the goalpost. I don't care. Fine him. If he wants to pay his money. The thing is there's so many worse people in the NFL, and I think people don't realize, guys, you know what? If you want to hate him, feel free. Dude donates tons of money to his hometown for charity in Louisiana, things like that. The on-the-field antics, he's passionate about the game. I don't see it as a distraction. If he's going to get 220 and a bunch of touchdowns, and the thing is, if that game is what flipped his switch to the on, well, then, watch out.
There you go.
Can I get him a couple of minutes on the mic?
Go for it.
Is that all right? So there's the distraction and circus show of what's going on with Odell Beckham Jr., which, okay, you want to say his passion, awesome. Terrell Owens and Chad Johnson were also very passionate and also very talented wide receivers. Their teams couldn't stand
He doesn't demand the ball. It's not the same thing.
It did. It is a distraction when you're not a good team, and the Giants are struggling to be a good team. The next part of this element is everybody gives him a pass because he just went out and got 222 yards. But he doesn't average 222 yards every game. And
nobody does.
We've also seen him at times take himself out of games because he's got some type of mental issue going on. The other issue here is you've got the sideshow of what's going on with Josh Brown, so you've got extra media attention. You need to be preparing for a professional football game. You have to turn your attention to a couple other elements. The Giants already are a dysfunctional football team just without any of that stuff going on. So then you add that, it just makes that atmosphere that much more hectic for everybody else on the team to get themselves on the same page, get them in their right mind, and get them prepared for this game. Now you take it overseas, you're in Europe, and you're playing against a Ram team that, we think the Rams stink, and then quietly we go over and look at their record. They're 500, which you don't really understand, but in the meantime, last few games, watching the Rams pick up the pace a little bit offensively. One big problem with this Ram team that I see for the Giants, I haven't seen the Rams and I haven't seen Gurley all season have a good game. I am waiting for that breakout game for Gurley to have some success. And when I look at this Giant defense, I'm thinking that it is quite possible he may be able to. Now, I know the Giants on rushing defense only allow 96 yards, which is impressive. I just feel like there might be some loss of focus this weekend, especially in game preparation due to some of the sideshow stuff that the Giants need to really watch out.
I don't know if anybody cares about a kicker, and here's the thing. You can say what you want about him taking himself out of games, but, dude, I mean, if you look at his rookie year, last year, and this year, he's on pace to shatter what he did last year, and that was record-breaking, okay? Yeah. 35 receptions, 580 yards. He's averaging 16 and a half yards a catch and 3 touchdowns. I mean, versus...
Hey, you guys love making excuses for this guy.
I don't need to make excuses. His numbers speak for himself. He's either the 1 or 1A. You know, maybe Antonio Brown is better. That's it.
Nobody, they don't want to watch.
What about Antonio Brown? He's gotten penalized every game this year.
Contracts up. They're going to try to trade just like them other guys that were.
I disagree with you. Disagree 100%.
It's not. You can't do it in football.
But wait, hold on. So are you giving Antonio Brown a pass who has been penalized 15 yards in every game?
It's different. This guy.
Why is it different?
Because he creates a distraction.
Come on, no. People love him. His teammates love him.
People love idiots all over the country. People love idiots. They love Dennis Rodman. People will embrace an idiot.
Oh my God. But your comparisons are so far off base. Like Terrell Owens demanded the ball and actually disrupted the team on the field. What he's doing, I agree, the penalties are not good, but you know what? If he's giving 15 yards back, okay, so he had 206 yards receiving. Okay, I'll take it. Like, you know, look, he's a young kid. I'm not saying he doesn't do stupid stuff, but he's not out. Like, look at some of the guys in the NFL and compare him to them. And what he does in his antics may be displeasing to you.
They're wrong too. And I'm not, you guys, it's like, oh, okay, let's find somebody worse to compare him to make him look better because we like him. Don't do it.
Well, I can tell you this much, that I could see both sides of your argument. I really can. But I can tell you this much, for the New York Football Giants, considering the fact that they're not scoring.
Turn on the TV. No. Every media outlet, every major source, guys that are legends in the game that have played the game have talked about it's out of control. It's not just me making.
They love manufacturing stories, Dream. They got
to create content for the programs, Dream.
Listen, you fuck the guys who played the game who don't really, they aren't necessarily caring whether they're getting coverage or not. They're telling you can't win with this kind of personality. It's too much of a...
I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that. There have been way... That's not true. There have been way worse receivers that have won Super Bowls, like personality-wise. That is not true at all. I mean, you've seen guys. You had Chris Carter, getting drunk before games. They still won. I mean, you've had guys that I'm just saying, like, he is not causing, I don't think he's causing the distraction that everybody's saying. And, you're talking about a guy who's on pace for a 1,500-yard season, a bunch of touchdowns. I think they'll take it. You put up with things from star players because they are star players. And, look, I understand you got a thing against Odell, but I'll take him on the field any day over any other receiver.
Yeah,
I don't have a thing against Odell. I got a thing about anybody listen, this team is not the team that can dealing with him for this particular team. It's just not a good situation.
But it's like I mean, let's take it to a different sport, right? It's like because it's easy to pick out. It's like when like Cespedes grounds out to like shortstop and he jogs like really half-assed down the line, and you're like, and then a guy who maybe got called up from AAA is going to hustle. I'm not saying it's necessarily right, but it's just things that have been going on in football since the beginning of football.
Well, I'm going to tell you this much, that it's going to take – right now it's okay. It's going to take the Giants to lose a game because of it where all hell is going to break loose. Like, I'll give you an example. He pulls his helmet off and gets a 15-yard penalty, right, at the end of the Baltimore game. Well, I think there was, like a minute left or something like that. What if Baltimore gets just enough yards because of that penalty to kick the game-winning field goal? Then,
fair enough.
Then you have the conversation of, all right, cool it, chill out. But the Giants won the game, and they won the game because of this guy. And, Dream, I got to be honest with you, the Giants are getting a lot more attention because of this guy. So, and you know what I mean? So it's going to come down to that. They haven't lost the game because of his antics.
Look at the Viking game. I look at the second half of the Viking game. Go look. You want to have those incredible stats against the Ravens? Who, by the way, Dan says the Ravens suck anyway. So
They do.
Why would you not have incredible stats against them?
I was more talking about their offense, but they're not a good team.
Out of the second half of the Viking game, period.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I said if you want to roll the tape back to that time when we were talking about that game, I was very concerned about the game because the Vikings have the best defense in football.
Yes.
But since
maybe the best secondary, most aggressive.
They had at least so all right. He's the most incredible thing. Everything's awesome about him. He still should have got 5.
Jerry Rice had bad games. Dream. Jerry Rice had bad games. It's about the body of work.
Yeah.
It's about the body of work.
Out of the game because they didn't call the flag. I felt like I'm getting picked on. So now I'm going to sit on the sideline. I'm going to pout because there should have been a flag on me because I'm Odell Beckham Jr. and I'm the greatest thing ever to play the game, play wide receiver in the NFL.
Well, you know what? And there's one receiver that has basically been the talk of the town over these guys, and that's Julio Jones, and he doesn't even act like that ever. And he should have acted like that with the last game with that pass interference call that was not called.
Yes,
Period.
he should.
I agree. So, anyway, guys, we're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow as that game's going to be materializing while we're on the show. I can't wait to be talking about that one with you guys when, whether Odell Beckham Jr. is rocking and rolling or he is nowhere to be seen in London. So that's what we're going to say, and we're going to get out of here. Dan.
Well, Julio Jones did have a 2-catch, 29-yard game against the Broncos, right? That did happen.
He did. Exactly.
He did. So I'm just saying, I know. I mean, 300 yards is great, but every receiver can have that.
Oh, don't have against the Vikings.
I think he had 30 yards receiving.
Okay. All right.
Every receiver has a bad game, but anyway, guys, I can't wait for tomorrow.
Collegiate
football. Can't wait for tomorrow.
What do you got?
So anyway, what we're going to roll with today, we're going to go Minnesota -18, Wisconsin -4, Louisville -19.5, Texas Tech +14, and a very small money line play. Utah +6.5 and Alabama -17.5.
All right, Dream, where are you going?
Moneyline parlay, very small, very easy. West Virginia and Utah.
You know what? That should pay pretty damn well.
West Virginia and Utah is where I'm at.
Whoa, that should pay awesome because Utah is an underdog.
Yes.
Wow, Dream is taking an underdog, Dan.
I'm taking the dog and I'm money lining. I'm probably
you're money lining. Wait, you're money lining the dog?
Yes.
And I probably will back it up with a teaser situation. I haven't figured out the teaser.
I might have to put a G on this now. I might have to go to Western Union, guys.
Yes. All right, guys. So what I'm looking at is as follows. I'm going with a 3-team 10-point teaser, and I'm taking some pretty impressive teams, and I'm taking one team that I'm just taking the opposite team of a team that I've been picking on. The team I've been picking on is Rutgers. And I'm taking Minnesota. I'm getting that down to 8 points. I'm going to take the Nebraska Cornhuskers to continue their winning ways. I'm going to get them down to 14 over Purdue. And I'm going to take the Western Michigan Broncos, number 20 in the land, down to 12.5 over Eastern Michigan. So I'm still giving points all across the board. But I'm pretty confident that these teams will be above that. And we'll go from there. So, Dan, what do you got to do to close out of here?
Yeah, no, I just can't wait to bring the heat tomorrow. I can't wait for a big NFL Sunday while the Giants are on. And again, I will try my hardest not to swear.
All right, sounds good. Dream, what do you got?
If you talk about off-the-field antics or having distractions during the game, look no further than the Carolina Panthers and all of the success that they're having. Hey, we want to thank everybody for retweeting the show. Rick Lopez, Robert McCall's winning picks, Terrence Beck, Louis Cypher, C. Rodriguez Jr., Direct Sports Solutions in the house, Kruk, Jay Snyder, we got OJFB, Joe Everett, Fast Eddie 72, Mind Funk, Pete for Prez, Mar Hoopstar, what's up? Welcome to the party. Rigetti's out there, Wayne Yarborough, Shane Whitted, Whitehead, sorry, Shane, gotcha. It's Big Girl 92661, G Rose Marlin, and Terry Bouchard. Gang! I am the Dream. We will see you tomorrow. Fired up. Me and Dr. Dan will be back and forth.
Yes.
At least Cap ain't my quarterback.
Very good point there. That's definitely a pretty poor situation.
You over there, I know you're not talking with Tannehill.
I take Tannehill over
I'm
Cap
not even
any day.
talking about from a
Come
football
on,
perspective.
you don't
I
want to
could
get me
be
started with
embarrassed of
Tannehill
having
versus
to watch that person on the field.
You don't want to
you know?
get me started with Tannehill versus Kaepernick. Come on, there's no
I
comparison.
talked about Cap being an awful quarterback for you.
Guys, we love you to death. Go out there, go easy, rise and grind. Enjoy your damn weekend. We'll be back tomorrow, NFL, and get that money. Let's go.
Peace.
Peace.